Hi everyone, my name is Jenna Albright and this is my EDT 6020 blended learning or online classroom through Schoology. Now, as we can see, here is my Schoology homepage, and the unit that I chose to create my blended learning classroom is equations and inequalities because this is a key component into our 6th grade math curriculum. And if we take a look, we can go ahead and get started. Now I've incorporated everything into one folder that is comprised of the entire unit. We have our pre-assessment, and this is all completed in sequence, meaning students must complete the pre-assessment before moving into lesson 1, lesson 2, and so forth. Pre-assessment, lesson 1, 2, and then we have our formative, lesson 3 and 4, the discussion board, our group assignment, and then finally the summative assessment. Now I broke down each lesson into what our key component of the original lesson would be in our normal classroom. For instance, our first lesson that we would learn in this unit is what an equation is. So let's take a look at this. If we take a look, step 1 is always watching a video or reading some type of notes for the students to be introduced to the idea. In this case, I created I embedded a Khan Academy video. And students, after watching this video, will realize that this connects directly to our prior unit, which was on expressions, and that's also what our pre-assessment was on, where students had to set a goal with how they felt they would do in our new unit. Let's head back. The next step that I incorporated is a smartboard file. Now this step would be completed in class, but if we would like to go ahead and take a look at these, students would be working in class on these with a partner. They are very guided for student completion. However, students know that they are always welcome to ask for help if needed. With a sort at the end, kind of a fun game. Alright, let's head back. Continuing on, the last step in each of my lesson folders is a practice. And in some sort. I set this up as an assignment because I want to make sure that students are actually completing it. If we take a look, they're just asked to go to this website, which is IXL Math, a very popular math practice website, standards-based. And it relates directly to what we just learned about the basics of equations and writing them based on a phrase. Now when they're finished, they are to submit that they've finished, of course, and then also add a comment or a sentence that describes to me how they feel about writing and understanding equations so far. Alright, let's go ahead and head back, and we can take a look at our second lesson. How do we solve equations? That would be the next step in our normal unit, so I definitely wanted to incorporate that in here. These are still sequential, they have to do them in order, and it looks exactly the same as the first unit to provide for consistency for the students. Introduction videos. Math Antics is a great website for conceptualizing math. That's why I incorporated both of those. We have one for addition and subtraction for solving equations, and one for multiplication and addition. Okay. And then student step 2 is the smartboard slides that we will be doing in class, but students have access to them and will be expected to follow along on their Chromebook through all of these because they are working on them with a partner. Understanding the basics of solving equations, which they should already have a good idea since they completed this or watched the videos with Math Antics. Then they will be creating a foldable to keep in their composition book as notes, where they're copying down how to solve each of the different types of equations, and then attempting them on their own or with a partner, their choice. Finally, they'll be adding the steps for solving the different types. And in the end, we should have a foldable that has everything they need to know for solving equations, and they can begin solving on their own. And there's an activity I included in the end. Okay, and our practice for this lesson too, we have Khan Academy. The great thing about Khan Academy is when students don't fully understand or if they're still a little stuck, they can go over to the side here and watch any of the videos that they need to that'll help them out with solving these. Very guided and supportive. Okay, when they're finished, they're going to say, I am a master of solving equations. Alright, headed into our formative assessment. Our formative assessment only focuses on equations and solving equations, since that's the only part that we've gotten to so far. Lesson 3, same format, videos. Then we have our lesson, which again we can take a look at down here. This is introducing inequalities. Students will be asked to complete these again in class with a partner, creating a foldable for the notes that they need to know for solving and graphing inequalities. And there's some practice examples and a game that's added to the end for us to follow along with, all in class. Okay, and we will end this lesson with practice on IXL again. Very good, again, with graphing and taking a graph and writing an inequality. Same activities that we were asked to do, or that we did in class. Okay. Heading back to our unit folder, we have our last lesson 4, solving and graphing inequalities, laid out the same again. Our slides for this one, kind of a overview matching game. Then the basics of looking at examples and then solving some on their own or with a partner. Okay, this lesson I ended with our individual assignment that we were asked students to complete. They are first asked to watch a video for solving word problems with inequalities. Then they are asked to copy one of the two, copy this problem and solve it into Google Docs. And they can submit their link to their Google Doc in the first part, and then they will take a look at the grading scale here to figure out and make sure that they have done everything they need to be successful on the assignment. Alright, last couple things. We have our discussion board post. And our group assignment. The group assignment, we have our directions labeled here with our group roles. This is asking students to create a Google Slides presentation that they will be sharing with the class on an overview of what they've learned with equations and inequalities. And finally, we have our summative assessment at the very end. That incorporates equations and inequalities through matching and multiple choice questions to help, and some short answer word problem questions at the end. Alright, I hope you enjoyed my preview of our Schoology course online, and thank you very much for joining.